A fraction of 1% of Illinois firearm owner identification card holders have registered banned guns in the first week the registration's been open. That's according to statistics from Illinois State Police. Good morning. Back at it. I'm Greg Bishop. You can always follow me anywhere. Just search Bishop on air, and let's get into it because after I kept refreshing the FOID statistic website, I ultimately saw that indeed yesterday they did publish those statistics. And if you click through, you can see this yourself as to what exactly they're reporting on. And you can see the total number of disclosures for the Protect Illinois Communities Act. And as of yesterday, the numbers were a total number of 1,050 individuals filing disclosures with Illinois State Police that they own a firearm that legislators banned. The total number of all banned firearms, ammunition disclosures, and accessory disclosures was 3,202. So for firearms, there were 2,060 disclosed. Semi-automatic rifles, shotguns, or handguns, we don't know which is which. They didn't divulge that type of information. But they did divulge that for 50 caliber ammunition that people have to register, there were 1,125 disclosures of such 50 caliber ammunition. And then accessories being disclosed, 17 accessories, which is kind of interesting. Only 17 accessories being disclosed within the first week. So this is all part of the state's gun and magazine ban that was enacted January 10th of this year. And it said October 1st is when a registry opens for those grandfathered firearms. If you owned a firearm before January 10th of this year that fits into this category that state legislators banned, then you have to register them by January 1st of 2024. If you don't and you're found out of compliance, you could face criminal penalties from a Class A misdemeanor to a Class 3 felony. So obviously people interested to see what's going to happen here. I connected with Todd Vandermyde yesterday to give him the statistics as I got them and got his reaction. Here's what he had to say.
So at 1,050 individuals registering, you're at 0.0004%. That's a rounding error by anybody's, category. It is. I think you said that there's 17 attachments that have been registered so far, and it'd be interesting as to what those are, if they're just handguards or whatever, because they're vague on that in the rule. It's starting off to a very, very slow start. And I don't think, they've got a long way to go if they're going to try to make it, if they think they're going to get any sort of real compliance. I think this is starting off about the way we thought it would.
So Vandermyde saying that of the 2.4 million firearms owner identification card holders, assuming that each had a weapon or a firearm that could be classified as a semi-automatic firearm, there's only 0.004, or is it 0.0004? Either way, it's not even a half of a percentage point of total FOID card holders that have registered. But this is just a weekend. It's just one weekend. We'll see what happens ultimately. But Vandermyde gives some recommendations to gun owners in the state of Illinois.
It's a long way till December 31st. And there's plenty of time for either Judge McGlynn to issue another ruling or for the state to lose in federal court with the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals. We'll see. Look at the pistol brace situation. They've been enjoined twice now from enforcement of the pistol brace stuff, and you only had, by one court's determination, an 8% compliance rate. I see no reason to run out and do anything at this juncture because the state police still haven't finalized the rules on this stuff. And the advice they're giving in their rules and vis-a-vis their website is contradictory to each other and the statute. So until it's actually sorted out, I don't think there's any reason to rush
So Vandermyde saying that, listen, the rules haven't even been finalized. They're emergency rules. October 17th, next week, is when the Joint Committee on Administrative Rules meets, and they could take up these emergency rules from Illinois State Police on this gun ban registry, where you have to register semi-automatic rifles, shotguns, and handguns. You do not have to register your magazines that are banned, but you do have to register accessories. What are those accessories? That's something that's being argued right now is too vague and people don't know. But you also have to register .50 caliber ammunition. So that's an interesting part as well of all of this. But Vandermyde said, listen, the Second Amendment, it comes from the perspective that it is there and shall not be infringed because it's necessary for the security of a free state.
To look at some world events, the same people that want us to register stuff have told me in committee hearings previously that we should store stuff at the ranges and we shouldn't have it in our house. Well, I think what's going on over in Israel just has been a complete and utter failure of gun control that, storing things away from your house and not having them. I think, we ought to just put a stake through the heart of all that BS.
So, again, some passions definitely up when it comes to this issue because some see it as an issue of life or death, I think, on both sides of this equation of regulation of firearms, or do you have a Second Amendment right? But, again, you've got that registry that's open now, and that means that if you are found out of compliance by January 1st, you could face criminal penalties. That is, if the law is upheld by the federal courts, and we don't even know when this is going to get to the U.S. Supreme Court, but we'll see if there's going to be an injunction put in place, either on Fifth Amendment grounds or on vagueness grounds, or however this is going to play out, or if the appeals court just says we're upholding the law while this plays out in the U.S. Supreme Court. Whatever happens, we'll be watching closely. But if the law is found unconstitutional, again, you've got State Representative Amy Ellick, who has legislation she says would require Illinois State Police to destroy records if the law is found unconstitutional. But also keep in mind that the registry, it only impacts firearms that were owned before January 10th of 2023, when the law was enacted. Illinois State Police have said time and again that it does not allow for firearms that were purchased after January 10th to be registered. So that's individuals who got a temporary restraining order. The thousands of individuals in gun stores that took part in a temporary restraining order Attorney Thomas DeVore was able to secure, those have been vacated now. But also the temporary and preliminary injunction from federal judge Stephen McGlynn that was only 6 days wide, right, before the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals came in and put a stay on that injunction. So those firearms purchased in those windows, Illinois State Police has said were possessed after January 10th and therefore cannot be registered by the deadline of January 1st, 2024. So we'll see what happens here. But again, the headline here is less than 1% of the Illinois firearm owner identification card holders have registered their banned guns in the first week. We'll be tracking those numbers all throughout. All right, follow me anywhere. Just search Bishop on Air. On air, off air, Bishop on Air. X, formerly known as Twitter. YouTube, where you can watch streams live or take part in other conversations and check other stuff out. But you can also follow me on Facebook as well, where you can track all the work I do with news and coverage of what's going on in state government. So be sure to follow me anywhere. Just search Bishop on Air.